Hello, folks. Here we are with another Saturday Night Live Zoom. And what's the date today? We're on February the 9th, Divine 9. 2019, I believe, is the year. I lose track because they're flying by so fast. But we have our special guest, Ed, that's returned. Ed's been around for a while. He's been showing his face on and off, been doing many things in his journey. And it's great to have people come back the second, third time and, to give us feedback so everybody can have an understanding of what people are going through in these challenging times of trying to find some balance and allow the body to heal. This is what we're all here for, to support each other, inspire each other. And there's nothing better to do for your healing journey than share. The gift of giving is creation itself, and it's all part of the healing journey, which it's a difficult thing for that concept to be relayed, I find, to people. The ones who get it, you can see the difference once they start sharing their journey.
Yeah,
and
just being here, just being together and sharing and learning from each other. It's very helpful for everybody.
Just being absorbed within the energy that's happening with the people that are living the lifestyle. So Ed, the floor is all yours, my friend.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you, Gino. Thank you, Rana, for putting this on. And as you said, it's all a journey. It's all just loving, understanding, and just communication with the body, with one, and also not just the physical body, but the body of all of us as oneness. I mean, that's what I'm seeing in this journey.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, just in my, the intro to this is my 5th master fast. My first one was in March of 2016. I learned about this right around December of 2015. Before, I want to give a brief recap.
Sure. I just keep that thought. I remember the first master fast. You made a post. I don't know how long after that you took your first 12 steps or something in a while.
The first master fast, like I said, it started in March of 2016. Before that, I was doing fruit, and it really started a little earlier as I acquired all the herbs, the tonics from you, and also the kidney tea. Just acquiring all the juice and making sure I had everything ready. But the first one was 40 days, and I did go through some healing, some challenges. And then shortly after that, I was able to get up from a bedridden state, because that word, even though it's true that I'm, quote, bedridden, or that true in a sense of what the world would see me as or labeled as bedridden, handicapped. I have a blue handicap placard, but I don't own it. It's even like the wheelchair, the power chair that I use. It's the chair. I use the word as an article in grammar. I don't say my chair because I don't personalize it. It's a tool that I'm using to get me to the next step. Mm-hmm. And so anyways, yes, I was able to get up and walk for the first time in years, like sufficiently, like walking from this room where I'm laying in now, and I'm in the bed here. It's about 15 steps to the bathroom. There's a short hall, and I'm able to go back and forth. Sometimes there's a challenge where I'm just too injured or just I've done too much for the day, so I will use the power chair, and I'll use it a lot. But I'll make sure, even when I have the manual wheelchair before that, I make sure not to use these too much. Make sure that they're tools, and as much as you can, get the body moving. Gino, you've always said keep the body moving and the blood moving, and I'm aware of that. So, so going back to to how I learned about this, just a brief recap. People could see the other Zoom video I did before. Mm-hmm. But I have a so-called undiagnosed condition that seems to mimic like a muscular dystrophy. I was never diagnosed, but according to the paperwork, when I read it, they were ready to put the check mark on muscular dystrophy on MS. the paper said that they had found little brain lesions like 4 millimeters 5, or according to the McDonald criteria, I met that criteria. But see, that could just be cholesterol plaquing. That's another thing that I found out later, that could just be normal from, you know, from aging, or from, you know, I had so-called high cholesterol. So um, I think what happened to me, bottom line, is that something made me bedridden. Something made me injured. My muscles, ligaments, tendons, the body just became weaker. It started in the right calf in 2010, and it basically systematically spread to the entire body. It spread in a way that was slow, and I had levels of pain. I had like, whether if it was in the arms, in the legs, and just any muscle group. Think about a muscle group. I'm sure the heart was affected. I'm sure, you know, if you have a brain, a muscle in the brain, I'm sure that was affected too. But I had like the tingly muscle pain, which I still get occasionally, sometimes in the hands or in the feet. I did experience it on this master fast. I'm currently on, today's day number 14. I experienced it on day number 2 and 3, pretty good, pretty severely, or like in the calves and the feet for like a day and a half, and then it went away. I kind of feel it a little bit.
Tingling?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Almost like somebody gets a tuning fork, or like a spider web tingling, like, I don't know how to explain it.
That's good news. You know that right now when you're on a fast.
Sure. Exactly. And I haven't felt that since my last master fast that I did was in right around September of 2017. I did one earlier in the year on April, another 40-day. So yeah, everyone. I've also, like on this one, I know that old injuries will pop up. I did feel like like 5 days ago, I did feel the left knee. I would get an injury like playing tennis, just right under the kneecap, and it was there for about a day. And I don't worry about these things. You know, we got to let them flush out and just pray and meditate and give yourself a lymph massage. So going back to the so-called condition thing, I never let it bother me, but I didn't know about nutrition. I was stuck in the pharmaceutical system in the world. Back then, I had taken up a statin for Lipitor, and then later on, what brought me down was the powerful antibiotic ciprofloxacin. I've read everything on it. I used to belong to Facebook groups, and a lot of people want to help each other. It's basically through supplementation, and I think at the end, I got off of the group years ago, but people were getting more into diet. But that's when I did my own search into other alternative methods, that because the doctors had no cures. I've been to easily over 50 doctors over the years. Second opinions at the University of Southern California, where I still see a neurologist yearly, and I still see a MD medical doctor, because it's attached to, you know, just the whole system. And I just go get in December 12th, I went to my annual physical. They did blood work. I got the blood work order months before, so I showed up prepared. And once again, they read everything as they always had every year, and they'll usually say everything looks good, or they might say your cholesterol's high. Even though one time I was like a vegan for almost a whole year, and somehow my cholesterol was, in the American standard, it was anything above the number 200. It's so-called high. It was like 240 or 250, and they say, "Oh, you're high," which it's not. We need cholesterol. We know that. We need that for the arteries. We need that for hormones. So once again, I got sucked into the system, and it's a learning process. I choose now to heal myself and choose to get alternative methods of healing, whether if I go see an alternative naturopath or what have you, or do the master fast, and just to incorporate that. And that's what I've learned now.
Your skin is awesome. Your skin is very, very clear.
Yeah.
You're glowing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks. It pays to shave. So no, I feel good. My energy is good today. Like in the last year, I'll explain my absence for a year. What I've been doing is that praying, meditating, and get away from social media and different contexts. Years ago, I gave up television. I still go watch things, but I control what I watch. Whether if I go on an Amazon Prime or I watch some type of YouTube video, but I have control. I don't mindlessly watch, you know, even the so-called the local news. If I want to know something, I'll look at it myself, and that's it. There's so much advertising and noise. I don't do that. So over the last year, since I've been away from Facebook and social media in general, I did have some gains. Within that, I did for the last year, I've been going to a naturopathic doctor that does muscle testing. He's a chiropractor. It's called nutritional response testing. They do use supplements. What I was really interested in this method was that for muscle testing, like in the past with my teeth, I still have the issue with amalgam fillings that have to come out.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
got like 12, and
Yeah.
so with the mercury fillings, what have you. So I know that's definitely an issue. So going back to a naturopathic doctors, um, what I wanted to do is go into like a system where you, with one of the theories of muscle testing is that it taps into the subconscious. Whether if there's a practitioner or somebody, you put your arm up and they're pressing down and they're giving you a yes or no statement. There's many ways to muscle test. I advise people to look on YouTube or to look at different methods. And I've also learned a method by Dr. Darren Weissman from Chicago, who runs a program out there called the Lifeline, which I'm part of now. It's basically a way to heal and accept emotional. One way is to say emotional content, to accept the feelings and to be a practitioner in that way. It's just adjunct these other alternative healing areas that I'm looking at. Also, I'll talk a little bit about sound healing with tuning forks and also chimes. And it all goes back into what you're talking about, the frequencies, 432. And that's what I'm doing. The best thing is to feed my body, mind, and spirit. And that's what I've been doing. Going back to this condition, I think what what led me down, it's a number of things. Lifestyle. I thought I was eating a healthy American diet. Even though I was very conscious, I would eat a lot of vegan meals. Every once in a while, I'll make vegan pizza or make my own wheat crust bread. Chicken, I was eating it without the skin. I never liked butter for some reason. But I ate a lot of dairy. I ate ice cream. I loved the sugary pistachio, chocolate, and what have you. And I think in 2013, in February, my condition became much worse. I became levels, like I mentioned earlier, I had levels of pain. I had the tingly pain. I had the pain that felt like if somebody gave you a bruise. I had the pain where a muscle or something would feel injured. Like if you tweak a muscle, or if you've ever run or played a sport, you just get that, like if you lift weights and you just felt like you got the lactic acid, it felt like that was just going on for months. And if something would hurt, like a calf muscle would get pulled or something in the arm, it may take 2 to 5 months for it to feel better.
Wow.
So I think what happened to me was just lifestyle. It could be genetics, pharmaceuticals. Also, I worked in laboratories for 16 years at the University of Southern California. I worked in biochemistry as a technician, and then I worked in biomedical engineering. I managed a clean room, and we had chemicals. I did soldering. We worked with coils where different frequencies. So looking back, I mean, even the frequencies, I'm realizing now how detrimental these could be for health. So I think one of the best things is that in this condition, being forced to be down, like right now, I'm pretty mobile. I can get up, I can walk, I can stand for a few minutes right now. And I was stronger a few months back. The body seems to go on a roller coaster. Right now, I seem to be at a lower point, but it's like I'm pretty strong still. My energy is good physically, but the body, it really needs the master fast right now. It needs to detox. This is once again my 5th master fast. This is my 5th long master fast, and I like to clarify that. I've done the first one was 63 days. I also did 2 others of 40 days, and I did 108 days. So this master fast, once again, I plan to go 40 or more, but I plan to do them more frequently. Last year, even though I didn't do a full master fast, I consider a master fast anything over 40 days. So for example, I did mini ones. I did several 3 days, 5, 10. Also, I've been pushing out kidney stones, especially in the left kidney. I know I pushed one out on, I believe it was December of 2017. It was either that or exactly the year before. The years do, actually, pardon me, it was 2016. I push out a kidney stone because I happened to capture it. I mentioned it in my first YouTube, in the first Zoom video, but I've had that same pain. In fact, it happened to me about 4 days ago, where the left kidney, I feel like a little pinprick, and after it stayed there for like maybe 30 minutes, and after I felt it move a few inches down, and then it just disappeared. So, and I haven't been able to recover it, but I felt that in 2017, I felt it about maybe 5 times throughout the year. So if I feel that I need to dig deeper, I'll do that. My diet throughout the year has mainly been vegan, but I have eaten other foods and I've challenged myself. I've also eaten through muscle testing. Um, I have had wild caught salmon or wild caught cod, and I've only had it a few times during the week. I especially had it like in November, December, and that was it. The last time I had anything was on New Year's. But for the most time of the year, I'm vegan, um, or I'm or fruitarian. Like getting before starting this master fast, I was fruitarian for 12 days before that, 100% fruit, and I was also doing herbs. So I think getting into this master fast, as I mentioned, it's day number 14. It's been the easiest to get into, but then day number 2 and 3 were like the toughest. Talk about getting slapped. Talk about getting slapped and whacked and going down for the count. Um, I don't like to say this, but I didn't even get up to go to the bathroom. I mean, I used a urinal, but I didn't do an enema, which I knew it was helpful with it, but I was just so beat up. I was just like, and I was just like, wow. And I just had to honor the body. And the day before that, I did 2 enemas. And like I said, I was on fruit. So the only good news is that I know the stomach wasn't full of uh, all this crappy food. You know, I know it had fruit, but I had to still wash it out. So the next day, the third day, the fourth day, because day 2 and 3, I was just so injured. The fourth day, I said, that's it, no matter what. Like, we're getting up, man. It's like, so I did. I did 2 enemas, and then little by little, it's like I become stronger and stronger. And that's really my goal, is the minimum to do 2 enemas a day, just to keep the bowels moving. If I do about 2 tablespoons of psyllium, I'm doing between 1 and 2 just with the body. Gesundheit. I do whatever the body asks. Um, I'll have a natural bowel movement. That's been my pattern. I'll have a natural bowel movement in the morning, and then I do like to follow up with with um, with a cleansing water enema or herbal enema or something, just to continue to flush it out. And I encourage everybody to do that if they're not already doing it. Um,
Yeah, we recommend 6 liters at least of bananas. Like 3, that would be like, I don't know how many liters does your enema take? 2 liters?
the one I have is I have a 4-liter bag and a 2-liter bag. Right now, I'm averaging about 2 liters. Sometimes the minimum is only 1, because uh, I might have to do a back to back. I have a Kalima board, but at this time, I don't have the strength uh, to work with it. It takes a little more energy, because I've got my setup here in bed, and I also have another one in the bathroom. And when I put the Kalima board, I'm getting really close to that. So that's why I'm saying, like, I don't
You'll get
I
there.
don't worry about things.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so I've seen this before. Once again, these are ups and downs. I was really strong in the December no, sorry, in summer of last year, 2017. I was really strong. I believe it was June, I went to my high school reunion. It's like I went in a power chair. Um, but I was able to stand for about 20-25 minutes easily. Like and people saw me, and I was really skinny at that time. Pound wise, I was about 100 and maybe 115. Right now I'm 104 pounds. I weighed myself this morning. Um,
What's your
I
height?
wish I had it in kilograms. 104. I started at 108. So this master fast in 14 days, to be only down by like 4 pounds. I started it at the lowest, but it's like I feel pretty good, and it's amazing. Honestly, I've been averaging. Um, I do about not even 2 liters of juice. I've been doing like 1.5. I want to do 2 or more, or like I just listen to the body. when I've done the other master fast, especially at the beginning, I noticed I was doing about, uh, let me show you. Do I have the bottles here? This is the size of the bottle. This is a 32 ounce.
Yeah, we're 1 liter almost.
Yeah. And this is the half one, 16. So I like to, two of these will make one of these, 16 ounces, 32. I like to fill this halfway, and that's like, or 8 ounces at a time. I've been doing about 3 of these a day, sometimes 4. It's like, I try to get more, but I almost doing kidney tea and I'm nourished. I'm like, I'm fine. I'm actually surprised that I haven't lost more weight, but happily surprised. Surprised in a way that I don't care. But the
Yeah.
point is that, yeah, the point is that when I started my first master fast, I went back and I looked at some of the records. I weighed 135 pounds.
Mhm.
And that was a lot. Looking back, that was actually a lot of fat, a lot of adipose tissue that was mainly from carbs. Because even though I was vegan back then, I was doing a lot of starches like potato, coming off of way back then, the Gerson therapy. Um, at the very end, I was eating meat because I was doing another diet called the Terry Wahls Protocol. I'd done that one for 11 and a half months. And that's just another side note there, that I tried a variety of protocols. People new to the master fast or giving it a try, please give it a try for a while. Just don't give it a try for a couple days and just say it doesn't work or it's just is too hard. The body has to adjust. We've taken so long to adjust ourselves. We don't realize it. We've taken so long to adjust ourselves to eating crap. But whether if it's eating crap from the food or taking verbal crap from people talking to us, or our mind telling the body verbal crap, we don't realize that we get into these patterns. um, I don't know why this is coming to me, but it's kind of like, let's think back when we were a child, when we were a kid, that joy and that happiness, and that when we would see somebody old or an older folks who was a grumpy person, and we would say, oh, what an old fart. Like if you walked on the grass, get off my lawn, or people would get into old habits. Let's just break those. Because I remember as a kid, I thought, I never want to be like an old fart. Or how many people here have said, I don't want to be like my parents. I don't want to be like my dad. I don't want to be like my mom. So let's look back and say, what things, and there's beautiful things about our parents or loved ones or people we admire, whether if you admire, Martin Luther King, Gandhi, the Christ, Jesus, or different luminaries. We can pick up the positives, the other attributes, but then these negative, so-called negative or not helpful attributes, especially with negative thinking, we've got to change this story. We've got to change the DNA that we've inherited without realizing it. That's why in a few minutes I'll get into a powerful affirmation that I started writing in November, and that I'm going to be sharing with everybody.
Yeah.
I'll just flash it here, but it's like, I'm going to read this and then go ahead.
You mentioned that you like to write poetry and stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thankful to God that I've been able to write more. When I became really strong 2 years ago, in the summer, like it was after I forget now, just say it was after like the second, or I think maybe the third master fast. One of the first things I did, I started to write, even though I'd been like in an injured position or just not able to do this things like physically. For example, just to understand, like this is a bottle of herbs, happens to be human worm for parasites, but it's not that heavy. It's pretty light. It's not even filled. But this, I could probably just hold this up in the past, like, you know, before doing the master fast, um, I could probably hold this up like for maybe 2 minutes. And after, my muscles would just get fatigued. No matter how big my muscles were, how I felt, and after I would get hurt. So imagine me trying to hold a book or to write with a pen or to type, because sure, I could use a recorder to record things like I have, and I take in notes. But after a while, as a writer, I need to use my hands. I need to do things. So
Yeah, you mentioned you'd get hurt. You mean actually like be like an injury and take a while for it to heal after, right?
Absolutely. It wasn't like sometimes it would almost feel like a carpal tunnel here, but it was in the arms. One time just reaching for water, if I would reach for water, the arms, it almost felt like I tore a ligament or a muscle. And that
Wow.
area in the bicep and the arm, it would take a very long time to heal. So one of the first things I did when I got better, I started writing again. I'm saying like I've always written, even though I was injured, but I wrote with a fury. In about a 5-week time, I wrote poems for children. I also write them for adults in different groups, but I wrote about 12 of them, which each one is like a page, like a ridiculous story. It's like a nonsense rhyming poem, almost like an elevated Dr. Seuss type with a rhyming scheme. So in the future, I'd like an artist to draw these on the side and then just, make that available also. It's just something for fun, and there's lessons within some of these stories. Also, I recently entered, in December, I entered a poetry contest of 10 poems. So I had been working on that portfolio for a while. That's another set of poems. This is just a side note, but it's to honor my father. My family came from Mexico, and 1951, when he came, he was what's called a bracero. Bracero is the word in Spanish for arm, brazo. He worked with his arms. He worked on the farms in Texas. The United States had this program where they called in a lot of Mexican workers to help because the farms needed help. Many men were at war from the Korean War and before. So my dad went through a lot of struggles with that program, but that's how he got the family to the U.S. and I was born many years later. But I write about that. And my dad recently passed away. I mean, going into on March 21st of 2017. So that's another thing that talking about, I guess, on a tangent now, we're talking about coping and everyday things. And that's another thing why it's so important for each person to get in tune with themselves spiritually, that make sure that the body, mind, and spirit are on board. And I think I have been doing more work on that, even with the affirmation that I wrote with, I've also been doing, if you know what's called the Course in Miracles.
Mm-hmm.
Marianne Williamson, she came out in the movie The Secret, but she wrote a book called Return to Love. I read that years ago, and I'm in the 4th year of doing that. It's just a daily practice. Even though it uses Christian language, it's non-denominational. It's just getting in touch with the soul and the body and realizing that there's no distance between me and you, that we're all one. And the walls and barriers that we create through hatred and through bigotry and through whatever are just illusions. And that for me to call you a bad name or to think bad of you is to, I forgot the way exactly how it's in the book, but they paraphrased it like, just imagine like you're putting a dagger on top of your head when you try to like insult or injure somebody else.
Or put a mirror in front.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Talking about the mirror, another side note that I do, if I encounter a person online, because once again, with social media, I didn't grow up with social media. You didn't either. There's many people of this generation, like, I mean, we're still part of the generation, like this generation, like, but I'm saying like, I was a late adopter of having a cell phone. I got one because of work. They gave one and after, but instant media, I mean, people's feelings are instant. So if somebody gets mad at you're just instantly, you could get aggravated. The reaction and action reaction. So I guess, for example, if somebody puts their hand out to greet you, says hello, a rhetorical natural response is hello. But if somebody gives you the middle finger, the friendly finger, the first reaction might be like, I've been offended. Like the ego might say like, I'll reciprocate the F you back, like, what is this for? But I'm over the years, I'm still practicing and learning myself just to look inside when I'm offended, whether if it's by somebody talking to me poorly or seeing a reaction or getting into an argument and just saying, hold on for a minute. And then like Gina was saying in the mirror, it just reminded me of one of the techniques. I don't know who originated this because I've heard it by different people, but you imagine like one of the techniques is to imagine like a mirror pop up in front of you, like a prism almost, like instantly, like, and then like you imagine those things just bouncing off you, and then you do your best to smile. I do try to think twice before speaking once, but it's hard. Recently, I had somebody who was negative against me, and whether if it was on the phone or whatever, what I had to do is bite my tongue. And then what I did is that I imagined like my brother Johnny, like he's a good soul. So imagine the good aura around him, like glowing. You might see a good aura like in photos from long ago, like where the chi power, like just power, like a glowing energy. What you do is that you imagine that good energy of a person you think of. Think of Mother Teresa, just what a good soul she was. Think of her aura and then place it on top of that person who's making you mad for that moment and try to see the goodness in them. Try to see the Christ, try to see the Buddha, try to see, and it's difficult to do, but with practice, I mean, it's amazing that it diffuses. And then I've noticed that sometimes people try to rile you up on purpose and they're waiting for that little reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they don't get it, it just gets diffused. It's amazing. So yeah, so I mean that's been one helpful a few helpful techniques that I've learned over the years and that I'm happy to share. I'd like to read this affirmation now.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Is that okay?
Sure.
It has no title. I am love. I am joy. I am beautiful. I am perfect. I am significant. I am brilliant. I am peace. I am happy. I am compassion. I am thriving. I am smiling. I let love in. I feel the presence of love. I feel wonderful. Wunderbar in German. I have love. I project love. And love returns. I am complete. We are one. Separation distance is an illusion. There's no other, only one. The past and the future are illusions. Only the now exists. I connect and unify the spirit, the mind, and the body as one. The subconscious protects the body in an act of love. Thank you, subconscious. Thank you. I am one of a kind, part of a whole. My heart resonates love. I am truth, open, ready, willing, worthy, able, safe, and supported. I'm true to love. I'm open to love. I'm ready for love. I'm free to love. I'm willing and worthy of love. I am able to love. I am safe and supported in love. I have infinite love. I am a wellspring of grace. I am blessed. I feel fantastic. I am valuable. I am wisdom. I am creative. I am exactly where I need to be. I am an unfolding genius. I am prosperous. I have dynamic bliss. I am grateful. I have infinite potential. I am authentic. I am intelligent. I am amazing. I bathe in the presence of God, the energy source. I am as I am. I love to love. I have a new understanding. I have a new vision. I am powerful. I am thankful. We are love. We are awareness. We are the unified field of oneness. We are vibration. We are divine. We are harmony. We are a celebration. We are one voice, one song, one energy, one light, one universe.
Awesome.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Trust in Soul from Source. There's your title.
So thank you, brother. I mean, this has saying this like early thing in the morning. That's another thing. I like to say this affirmation or the first thing in the morning when I wake up, I do my best to just ask source, ask the presence, whether people call it God, the source, or ask yourself or ask love. I just say, what would you have me go? Where would you have me be? That's one thing that Marianne Williamson talks about. And I learned from her that the first hour of the day, I make sure that my phone is off. Like any social media, I don't even touch anything. What I do is that I pray, I meditate. If I forget, if I do something, or if I get busy, that's okay. But I do my best to pray, meditate, and just come inside myself and just center myself. especially that first hour. I challenge everybody, don't turn on your phone right away, because what happens is that the texts and the emails are other people's programs that get put in our mind. Let's first program ourselves with love, with affirmation. So this is great to read in the morning, and then at night before going to bed, let it go into the subconscious. If there's something you don't like from here, good, replace it. I put little notes at the bottom here about how to memorize it, a little meditate, breathe beforehand. I gave suggestions, make your own, you know, but
Excellent.
we have to do whatever works to bring ourselves a notch higher.
Yeah, we're interacting with everybody's caca, which is our own caca.
But also everybody's love.
Yeah, of course. But
Which is our
so,
own love.
and it's awesome to be able to bring out that plasma love out of everybody, because it's a challenge listening to people's caca day in and day out.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It's something that I had a big struggle with in the first year. After 6 months, it was something that went through me that I was not used to. Thousands of people bombarding me with all their emotional stuff, and at the end of the day, I had to come to the conclusion. Well, let me look in the mirror. What's going on here? Because
Yeah.
it's we can't separate ourselves.
And I mean, you are in a very challenging position, having to support so many, supporting so many people on Facebook. It really is a tough job.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, when I go to try to support for like 1 hour or two, it's too much. I kind of get, emotional, and it's sometimes it's good to make time for it and then make time for you, so you can kind of
Absolutely.
meditate and let it go.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm kind of in a sacrificial position just to get this out there, and we do what we got to do, but it ain't easy. We've seen a lot of things out there where people try to do things and so on and so forth, and I've never come across a support system that lasted, because there's nothing substantial behind it, meaning the emotion and intent, what's behind the support is what the important thing is. The physical stuff is irrelevant. And when you are putting that intent and emotion, that driving force, as the foundation, and keep it true and stick to that no matter what, you see things start changing and happening, and start materializing in this matter state, which is in a slow motion state, as I like to put it. Whereas we go into the dream state, it's instantaneously, but here everything's slowed down into minutes, hours, days, and weeks, months, and years, and so on. So it's interesting how things play. I don't have anywhere near all the answers, but the information that's come through for whatever reasons to keep the support system going. It's wonderful watching the magic just for one person that can take charge of their health again. It's all worth it. So it's awesome.
And we appreciate it, even though people may not say so. I mean, I definitely do. I know at the beginning you gave me a lot of so-called free advice. I mean, I was financially stricken, and it didn't matter. Every once in a while, I'd give a little bit money. You can go buy maybe some carrots or not carrots. I'm sorry, some grapes or some juice. But it's like, and you were always there to help me. I have to say that. I mean, thank you very much. I mean, sometimes you told me things that were like hard love, or tell me that what you suggested, and I have to. Every person has to make a choice or say, like, does that work? Does that seem? And that's why people that are new to the masterclass, just go do as much as you can to read and to ask people questions. And there's really no dumb question, but as long as we make a diligent effort to kind of understand a little bit. I mean, I know that any system starting up, there's a learning curve, of course. Get a paper and a pencil, start writing things down. I mean,
the challenging thing is how do you portray almost 3 decades of experience through somebody. You just can't. This is what I found.
Yes.
I thought I could at the beginning, and as a year passed, 2 years passed, I saw that it's not happening. People have to go through the experiences, and
Yeah.
the people that are sticking to it and doing it, and they start seeing because of the experience, seeing then and it's starting to grow now slowly and slowly from the people that are actually living it and doing it. But it's just it's not going to happen. Portray all the experiences in that time, even though I'm saying things and so on and so forth. It's not understood until the person actually experiences it. And 9 years minimum. Give yourself 9 years, and if it doesn't happen in 9 years, keep going because it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
What's 9 years? It's nothing. It's nothing to completely transform yourself, physical, mental, and spiritual bodies, emotional bodies. To completely transform that, as you were talking earlier, it's not going to happen overnight. It's a process. This process. Just allow it to take place, and let it unfold. Keep that faith and the trust in your soul. Not me and not nobody else. Keep the faith and trust in your soul. Because if you can't trust your own soul, who can you trust? That's all we're portraying, to go back to trusting in your soul. Because the way our societies have, most of our societies have been brought up that it's all about being programmed to trust anything but your soul.
Yeah.
And it's completely different in our upbringing, and it's people have a struggle and a challenge to lay it all out and sit back and trust in the soul. No, I got to go get this test. I got to go get that test. I got to go see this doctor. Maybe this, an x-ray. And that continues and continues and continues instead of trusting in their soul with the inherent ability for the body to completely metamorphosize and regenerate itself with no thing. And that's very difficult to portray. And I'm not even at 100%,
Yeah.
but I know without doubt that everything's possible, because we all have that monkey mind. It's not going to stop. We're not going to lose that in this realm, I don't think. But we can control the monkey, right? We can tame it, and we can, put it aside or whatever. But just continue that and keep trusting and allow the process to happen. And that's what you're doing, Ed. You're maneuvering. We have the road, the race course, whatever you want to call it. It's not a race, but I'll give you an example. And the road is wide open and straight. You put the pedal to the metal. And then a corner's coming up. Slow down for the curves. And we have curves happening. And you open it up when the road's open again. You put it pedal to the metal and you open it up again. So this is the lifestyle, and it's going to continue like that. It's never going to be wide open all the time. It's just not going to happen. Not in this realm.
Yeah, but you can heal and become 100% healed, or
yeah, you'll come to the
maybe.
You'll come to the place where you're completely balanced. Pain, suffering, all that's pretty much gone out of your life, and then you just have all these other different challenges. The emotional stuff we're working with, because we're working with all our ancestors' emotions continuously, and as we're working with ours, we're also bringing balance to the ancestors, because we can't be separate, and with everything else on the planet, and so on and so forth. So it's as we're working with ourselves, we're working with the whole. We can't be separate, and that's the beauty of being the change you want to see, as Gandhi put it. And I don't know the exact words, but this is the magic unfolding when we work on ourselves, and we see the magic start happening in our lives and in other people's lives. So we don't have it. We don't know screw all. We've just scratched the surface, and I just know without doubt, as the years go by, just things are going to be getting more and more blissful and amazing and unrealistic to what we've been brought up with. But it's just a walk in the park for creation, because we have a little bit of an understanding now how it works, just that little bit. If we let go of everything we've been taught, it'll be available to you, and the answers will show up for you. Especially when you start getting into the fast, right? As you've been saying it, you're starting to write and all that, because you get that clarity that comes through.
And also the physical ability to write.
Yeah.
Right? The strength.
Yeah. It's just magical.
Absolutely.
It's magical. It's just like, what else words can we use? It's just all magical, the processes. So cheers to you, Ed, for you got that faith to continue, and like I've talked to you over the last couple of years on and off, the different things that you went through and so on and so forth. I don't agree with everything, but it's okay. It's just it's your journey, and it's awesome that people start start gaining the confidence to do a little bit of experimental here and there and see what happens. But the truth comes when you start doing this stuff for a decade or more. A few years is nothing. It's really nothing. We can see massive transformations happen even in 108 days, but honestly, a decade is nothing in this lifestyle. I've seen decades, people living a fruitarian lifestyle decade, then they go off the whack and they're back eating raw meat and stuff. Why?
Yeah, I think
the answer is in plain sight. The answer is in plain sight.
The most important thing is to make it a lifestyle. Since I started 3.5 years ago, over 3.5 years ago, the first time I did 108 days, I can say, it's a lifestyle. And when I'm off the lifestyle, the master fast lifestyle of less is more. So fasting and eating sometimes and eating clean and eating, less, fasting most days, eating less days. It's a lifestyle. When I'm off that lifestyle, I don't feel good and I get back on it, So, and sometimes I'm off for a while, So it is definitely a lifestyle. Once I'm off the lifestyle for a while, it's just, it's depressing. It's depressing. It doesn't work. Like I can't adjust to the food anymore. And I don't want to, because I don't feel good,
We've come to the understanding that there's no diet that's going to help you. It's only going to slow down the obstruction rate or speed up the obstruction rate. That's it. That's all diets are going to do.
Yeah.
So and we have that understanding very clear. And Arnold Ehret gave us the formula: V equals P, take away O. That's the new mantra. And once you understand that, which is the art of subtraction, then you'll come to realize through the experiencing what we're saying has validity, because you're going to start experiencing it, that the foods, no matter what they are, they're all obstructive. We can only use the foods that obstruct least, which is fruit, to enjoy ourselves, because to enjoy ourselves, because we are so indoctrinated and programmed that we believe we need to have to eat. That's
our food is pleasure, or like we're so embedded in us, and it is pleasure, but there's a limit.
Yeah, but we don't have the faith that we can go without physical foods. That's the challenge.
Yeah,
we're otherwise we'd stop eating.
Or like that we can have more pleasure fasting than eating. That's also important,
Yeah, we can do it prudently to make the shift slowly, very slowly over time.
Breatharians are having pleasure, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I enjoy eating. I enjoy eating. I love eating, but I love fasting more.
Yeah,
the feeling, there's no comparison.
We all love eating.
Yeah.
But when you get into that stage of fasting, and especially like higher levels, then you're going to understand the pleasure of fasting.
Yeah.
If you don't never do it, you're gonna say, yeah, I love eating, but yeah, you don't know anything about fasting, so you can't compare.
Yeah, the most peaceful states I get into and blissful is when I'm in the long dry fast, and that's what we all should strive to work towards slowly over the years. We don't want to rush this as a race, because people got themselves in trouble. It's slow, steady.
And it's not should. Everybody has their journey, and we all love each other. Like like you're saying, we're all loving each other and respecting each other. It's very important. No matter where we come from, we must respect each other's choices. You know, we have free will to choose.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
of course.
As long as I'm not affecting you negatively, then respect me, right? And as long as you're not affecting me negatively.
Yeah.
It's when I start complaining and this and this and that negative energy, then I'm going to be, you know.
Yeah, that's why, you know, we say if it's not for you, there's lots of other pages you can go to. This is what we're doing. This is what we're focusing on.
Yeah,
this
and
is
we love you
lifestyle.
and respect you, you know, but this is what we
But
do.
if you don't agree, it's okay. Go, you know.
Like, yeah,
It's
of course,
okay.
not everybody's going to resonate with that.
That's a good point. That's why like really in 2017, that's why I didn't do a long master fast, because I was doing I was committed to another program with the muscle testing. Also, I taught myself how to do it, and I wanted to see what the subconscious or what the body wanted on a different state. I also tried oils. I had never gotten into like oregano oil or turpentine. Um, I'll talk about that in 1 minute, if I may. But first, I want to talk about there was a few benefits that I got, like things I'm able to do in 2017 that I haven't been able to do like in 10 years. Um, and it stems really from the master fast and the lifestyle and I think just little things that I've done also, you know, sound therapy, meditation, prayer. Um, this might sound funny, but I'm able to bend down when I'm standing up. I could touch the ground. I could pick up, you know, you drop something on the floor.
Awesome.
I could pick it up. It took me a while to master that. In the past, if I ever tried that, if something fell on you instinctively, if you happen to be standing to grab it, I would pull a muscle somewhere in the glute muscle, this muscle, or like it's just something like that was just part of what was hurting. Not just because ligaments and tendons were tight, like they still are. I need to continue to increase my gait and other physical therapy, which I continue. But now I'm able to do that.
Wow.
I'm able to to grab things from the bottom. These simple things that we take for granted that you don't realize. You know, like you might say, "Oh, I scratch the back of your head," but if the day you can't do that and you have an itch, then you realize, like, hey, what's going on? The other thing, there was about 3 significant things. That was the first. I'm able to bend over now.
When did that start?
That started, I would say, 2017, maybe March or April. It almost like came across like naturally, like where I didn't kind of realize. The same thing with sitting on my gluteus, on my butt. I have a power chair that I get up, and if I go for longer trips, I have a gel seat on there. But I've been uh, ever since I had that chair. I don't know if it was like just say 2014 to like right around the same time of last year, somewhere around 2017, maybe in the middle of it. I started. I would I would always put the seat forward, and I would put zero pressure or try to put zero pressure on the backside of my butt when it's like you're sitting in a chair, but you're really putting the weight forward. So little by little, those muscles and tendons just started to feel stronger. So I'm able now to sit fully, and that's already been at least over, you know, maybe 7 months that I'm able to do that. Um, it's just that I was getting so much pain when I talked about the levels of pain. I could sit on. I'm sure I had to go there. You got to sit on the toilet. You got to do this, but these are other things that at the time I can't talk about them really because they're getting better. They feel good one day, they feel bad, but you know, and I'm just thankful. I'm just thankful that I feel better. It's like, but I'm able to sit fully there. Also on each calf. Um, I used to have compression sleeves. Like I made them out of a sock. Just think of a tube sock, a long sock. You'd cut off the bottom and then you gently put that over to use it as a compression sleeve. I've purchased many compression sleeves, the Tommy Coppers. They're all garbage because they lose the elastic band and I don't want to put too much compression. It's not to. I needed those in the past for sleeping. At one point, okay, I stopped using those last year, early in the year. Um, and I would use them on and off. If I had a compression sleeve on the calf area, people use them on the elbows, on the knees. I mean, for playing tennis, you might see people wearing those things, or for playing sports. But I needed them because the muscles itself, by getting pushed, they would just hurt in different areas. It felt like, once again, it felt like nerve pain, like it got socked. It felt like something got separated, like, and it would take a long time to heal. Every once in a while, I feel it a little bit, but I've seen the progress. I've seen baby steps, like you're saying. That's why this is my 5th long master fast, and if I'm not going to be true to it, like last year, I knew, okay, I'm going to try something else and I'm going to play with things and see where I'm at. I would say I was vegan for about maybe 7 months or maybe 8 months out of the year. Um, Once again, I've been dairy free and gluten free, no wheat or milk since February of 2013. I gave that up. Also like chocolate and stuff like that. So and then after that, at the same time, I think I gave up nuts. I did try some pumpkin seeds in like November, December, organic, raw, and very little. And I had zero issues with them. That was one thing I also did that last year, is that I really went after parasites and fungus. I did like other methods to get rid of them. That's why I looked into turpentine. Um, I've had this turpentine bottle sitting. Now it's all dirty because this is herb juice that gets sprinkled on them. A 4 ounce. I've had this sitting in the bath cabinet for about a year and a half. And first I was afraid to use it because I'd hear horror stories and I know people would experiment. But if you don't know something, put it aside, pray about it, learn about it. And I did use it, but I read everything. One of the foremost authorities was Dr. Jennifer Daniels, MD, who turned holistic and got booted out of the US for treating her patients without pharmaceuticals. She started using turpentine oil with sugar. I've never used sugar. My body muscle testing does not like processed sugar. But anyways, through muscle testing, I was only doing about 4 drops a time. This is a little bottle that these are some of the, and Gino, these are your herbs in here. I have a mixture of like 12 in here. I drink about a milliliter at a time with whatever I'm doing. But during last year, what I was doing, I was only taking maybe a milliliter of that a couple times a day and maybe 4 drops. My body just wanted 4 drops, sometimes 5 drops, sometimes 2, sometimes 0. So in a day, I just might do 3 applications. So that might have been 12 drops. It might have been 8 or 4. And then some days the body said, no, nothing. And then I also got into oregano oil at the same time. I found this enteric coated oregano oil. It has a little bit of organic coconut and safflower oil as a carrier, which I wish it didn't have it, but I like enteric coated because the theory is that it goes in the body and that it'll open up at the lower intestine when the large intestine. It'll go off in the bowels, like when the pH reaches 4 to, I believe it's at 4 to 7. So and I did see more types of parasites and things come out. I've seen them on the master fast, but doing some of these methods, first of all, I learned about this by Googling, going to YouTube, and I learned people were doing like what's called MMS, master mineral supplement, the chlorine dioxide, and people were doing that to get rid of parasites. So I looked at different protocols and I thought, what can we learn? But part of that protocol, which I didn't like what they used, they are curing kids of autism, but there's other ways they could do this or more effective. The thing that they're doing definitely wrong on there is that they're using pharmaceuticals still. If you look at the protocol to get rid of parasites, so in my opinion, that they should just, if they're going to do that, go to the herbal world, use herbs like crazy. I mean,
Well, you can
a lot of people.
You can go into
Go ahead.
the plasmatic side of things. There's a guy who's making the MMS in plasma. So you're drinking the energetics of it into the water only. And he's getting a lot of people with good results just from that. They're just drinking water.
Wow.
There's nothing physical. It's the energy of the MMS. So that's a much better and safer way of doing it. Yeah, I actually have an MMS here. We'll grab it. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, this is all relevant because I was.
This is MMS GANs that I made.
Oh, beautiful! Wow.
So you would use the water. You wouldn't use the actual GANs material, right? You only use the water.
I got it. Yes. Yeah.
And you can do that. So I'm using a lot of these things. My mother and stuff, and that's another thing we'll talk about later.
And you have done MMS in the
Sure.
past.
Yeah, I've used. I was one of the first up here to use the MMS protocol as soon as I found out about it. Bang bang, something new.
Yeah.
And
Yep. I
we,
used it in 2017. I tried it on October 6th was the first day. And it's interesting because even though it's sodium chloride, not chloride, it's not the household bleach. People have to understand that there are these
yeah,
healing ways. I mean, these are the two bottles that you mix in a 1-to-1 concentration to make it. You could make it yourself, but I use it even, you could use it to wash your clothes. I use it to sanitize. Uh, I mean, you could use it for many things, but if my point is that I was ready at that point to get a little more aggressive or to try other things that I had learned. Um, like I said, so in 2017, I experimented a little. I even had at one point when I had a vegan soup, I tried. I muscle tested uh, for organic quinoa, and I know it's a grain, it's gluten free,
yeah.
but I tried this a couple years ago. The
One of the
interesting
better grains.
and it did. Yeah, and it didn't work for me. I got like a funny nerve pain, like ran through the legs the next day. So that was a long time ago, like a couple years ago. This time, I had no issues, and I thought interesting. I muscle tested another grain, amaranth, the Native American grain that's
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be around for 8 million years. The Aztecs, my
Yeah.
so-called ancestors, used it. I mean, um, gluten-free also. The ancient grains. I tried it in a soup. It's almost like a porridge, like a if Americans like a cream of wheat. Like I tried a little bit in a soup and I had no issues. I tried it for 3 days and that's it. I didn't want to go on them and I just wanted to see where I was at. I mean, personally, I still like the testing, but at the same time, like I'm not ready for those rich foods. Even the doing pumpkin seeds, the Native Americans use pumpkin seeds to get rid of parasites, but not in a crazy abundance. And that's why I tried them for a very short time. And then to get, I mean, when I had some left over, the best thing to do is that to give them away. Find somebody, if there's something you know that's not good for you or you just don't want to get tempted by it, a chocolate or whatever, just give it away. Bless somebody with it. Because when I'm on the master fast, I mean, right now I've got organic grape juice. I've got 2.5 cases. I got them from Trader Joe's here in California. And I also got some from Costco as a backup. Um, just set yourself up for success. We know that. I mean, right now we're fortunate that this is the time for citrus. There's a lot of lemons I'm getting for free. The neighbor, I've got some Myers lemons. Another neighbor,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get some more coming in a couple days. So,
I love those
um,
lemons. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like just we still got to utilize everything. And the psyllium mix. Make sure to order everything. And I guess now I want to talk to just people who say that the master fast is expensive and you can't afford it. Well, no matter what, I can't afford to get sick. You can't afford to die. Your children need you like we need you. So the best thing to do is to plan. I mean, even for me, like I got a little bit of money, but it's like I'm not working. The little bit of money is that whatever I have coming monthly or people give me. I mean, and I'm rich inside. So yeah, I got money. I'm rich. But
Yeah.
the thing is that you plan for it. You find a way. If you can't do 12 um, herbal tonics, do 4. Make your own. Find out what the recipes are, or make your own, or learn all you can. There's always a way around it. And I noticed that now we've always said this. Like this month, I'm saving money this month. It's like I actually purchased some chimes. They're coming from Australia. These perfect harmonic chimes, and like because I'd been saving up, and I knew that this month that I was between the master fest, and I thought, you know what, I've been wanting these since I heard about them last December. And sometimes you just gotta be patient and make a plan. You know,
Save up.
Yeah, you got to spend your money eating, plugging yourself up, or you spend your money on cleaning out. Those are the two options, really. What's the in between? Dry fasting.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And we do it prudently so we can allow the body to purge and keep moving the energy. That's all we're doing. There's no rocket science for us. There's just no comparison. It's way, way cheaper living an MFS lifestyle than it is an eating lifestyle, no matter what diet it is. Unless you're just eating rice potatoes, that's about the cheapest thing. And some people actually do that.
Yeah, but you're not gonna be. Yeah, you're gonna be backed up big time
Yeah,
on rice and potatoes. Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
if it's a starvation issue, then that's something else. But
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Well,
we have choices, like you're saying.
rice and potato diet is a starvation diet. you know.
I agree.
Once
It's
you
pretty
understand,
void.
yeah, you know,
Yeah.
it's you're plugging yourself up. Anything you plug yourself up with, you're starving yourself. That's the new understanding. It's not about nutrition. It's about how obstructive is the diet. The less obstructive, the more nutrition, which is.
But who eats rice and potatoes? I don't know I have not heard of one person who eats rice and potatoes.
Well,
Nobody does that.
bread and pasta.
Everybody likes to eat. The average person would eat from outside, or when they eat the pasta, rice and chicken, and everything. Rice and potatoes would be actually not that bad. It's a good start for someone.
Yeah,
You know.
if they keep it simple, yeah.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Ed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess the last thing I want to talk about is just like my journey now. It's like um, I've had more healing reactions, which is a good thing because the body's waking up. The first couple master fasts, I had them here and there, but not like this time. So I definitely feel I'm at another place. The funny thing too is that I almost feel like this one was harder to get into a routine. I actually feel it's coming now, like almost like on the last 2 days, um, like really on the 10th day, like it's funny. I didn't know where I was at. I saw there's also been a couple days of insomnia. Like I would say also in 2017 or even after the master fast, doing a couple of them, my sleep became much better. But I feel like I'm getting now back into a routine, which is good. It's good in the sense that for myself, I make sure to do my enema, I do my prayer, my meditation, and then I get my food in, get my psyllium in, and um,
How much,
it's working out well. Go ahead.
how much dry fasting are you doing this time?
Thank you. That was my next thing. My challenge is dry fasting. I've mentioned this before to Gino, or even I think on my other master fast. And the longest one I did last time was 52 hours, and then I would get like or I think maybe like sometimes after 20. I would notice in the past, like after 24 hours, I'll get like a heart palpitations. I know sometimes we get those, and if I would drink like water or juice, I don't know if it's a blood thinner or what, just the water, just it would cool it a little bit. So that's been my challenge this time, the dry fasting. So what I've done my best on is trying to increase the windows, like when I sleep. The other day I just had like I don't know if it was like a 5 hour window where I just drank my juice. So I do my best, whether that is that like an 18-hour sleeping fast or an overnight dry fast, but that is still a challenge for me.
Yeah.
And
Your date is about 18.
no, it's probably definitely 14, but a couple times it's gone higher. Like in the morning the first thing when I wake up, um, I won't have anything. Like the first time I have my grape juice might be like 10 or 11 in the morning, which I'm kind of proud of that I'm pushing it because doing the first couple master fasts, like you wake up and right away the monkey mind says, "Oh, where's my juice?" Or I'm hungry. And like I said, this whole time, this master fast has been easier. Like with the amount of juice, it's been a little less, but I'm hydrated well because I got the kidney tea and I've been adding more herbs to it. Um, but it's still the dry fasting that's still like the challenge on here.
You're doing 24 hours a week.
Well, that's the goal. I haven't been able to accomplish that yet. That's when I start trying it. If I start feeling like the heart palpitation, I just get another body aches. I stop, and then that's what I have to work on.
Yeah, yeah,
I am filtering though, not as great as some people show. They see all this white sediment like sand, but in the morning the urine is darker, and then looking at it, like after it, I have a brighter light here. I put it under, and you could see particles in there. So I mean that's a good thing, but I want to see more.
yeah, allow the process to open up in the dry, and go into the semi-dry if you're having some challenges like we've talked about in the past. Allow that dry.
Hold on. Yeah.
But when you're on a full MFS, just stick within the maximum that we're talking about. It's when once you start going off back on food is when you really try and open up the dries, and this is where you're going to see a lot of changes happen when you start getting into 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days and more. It's difficult to comprehend that, but I know you're talking about all these pains, but Ed, you're still here, right?
Yeah, there you go.
It's scary because I've had them. It's scary,
Yeah.
especially the pains in the heart area. But You gotta trust in the soul. The body knows exactly what it's doing when you're on a fast. It's not comfortable, but you allow the trust to open up and let it work because it knows exactly what to do. And that's the challenging part for all of us. Not you know, if you, it's for everybody. It's not for, it's that monkey mind that is coming through and not allowing us to open it up and
Absolutely.
expand it. So it'll come. It'll come.
So you're starting to feel the heart palpitations after how many hours of
Tho-
drying?
I've seen it sometimes after as early as like maybe like 16, no, not 16, like maybe like 18 hours, sometimes after 24, like it's really like the whole day, like 24 hours, like right there.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, if it's 18, then maybe take your tinctures at 18 hours. Take your
I
tinctures.
think I'll do that. Yeah.
You haven't done that? Yeah, the tinctures would help you.
You know, I have a tinctures here, but it's like I've never like strategically done that beforehand. So
It's
I've
in-
always done it like once I feel it. So it's like to mitigate it, I see what you're saying, to lessen it, to stop it before. And yeah, I'll play around with that.
yeah, it's they give you so much energy. They have the tinctures when you're dry fasting. You can sip on it a little bit. It gives you energy. Um, and otherwise, you can have a little bit of the juice so you don't break it, but like maybe a shot glass every hour, right? It's in the protocol.
You
Uh,
know, yeah, I've seen that. I remember people were trying that, and the funny thing is, I've never tried that before. So I don't know why. Maybe because I'm more like hardcore. But yeah, you're right. Thank you for like the refresh. I mean, I know how to do that exactly. So yeah, that's why I'm here.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. It's you're doing great. Just allow the process to move that energy through you, and you'll see. You know, when you're ready, it'll happen.
And mhm.
It's it's not something that we're going to be able to force because it's the emotional side of things where um, the blockages are. But speaking back, going back a bit, you were talking about your teeth amalgam. I think I've talked a bit before. That should be a priority to try and get those removed. Um,
Absolutely.
if you go to different countries, you can do it for way less if that's an option for you. Uh,
Yes.
you can talk to your
I
body.
found a place in Tijuana, Mexico, just over the border here. Um, they gave me I have about 12 amalgams, but I sent them a picture of my teeth a few years ago, and they said I needed 4 root canals redone. Just from the photo, they saw that. I know. We've talked about this. They said that, but they quoted me for 4 root canals and for the 12 amalgams done properly at it's a state of the art facility. Um, they quoted me $7,000, so that's out of my range.
Yeah.
It's like, so one thing I will say, um, I know that that's an issue. So the chlorine dioxide, that's one thing that when I learned about chlorine dioxide, it's supposed to also help to chelate to get rid of heavy metals naturally. One of the theories is that it breaks apart this is a theory, of course, but it breaks apart the mercury oxide. It breaks it off so that it makes it digestible and you could poop it out. So whether if that was true, I don't know. But I will tell you that in December, a tooth started to hurt. Uh, Forgot what number it was. Actually, it was number 18. Was 18? Actually, it was number 20. Um, and then it hurt in the past. And then when I did see a dentist. I was strong enough to see a dentist about 5 months ago, and I didn't want the X-ray, but they had a look, so they did just 2 little X-rays, not the full thing. They saw something big on this side, like they thought I had a big old abscess on both sides, but they were saying you're not in pain. And I think through all the detoxing that I'm doing, that is just it's washing everything out, or has washed, because I'm in zero pain. But one tooth that had cracked about maybe 10 months ago, a tooth cracked, but it had an amalgam, it had a filling in there, and it had mercury. I know a mercury square fell out of there. I'm thankful I didn't swallow it, that somehow and the tooth cracked in half. And I had a lot of dentistry done as a kid. Uh, so that tooth started to hurt. So I could have salvaged it, but it was cracked, and it was always an issue while getting anything in there. So, and it was hurting. So I did get it extracted, and it's missing a tooth. I had nothing put in, but, and I know that some teeth could cause, they'd be causing sickness, but I don't know if it was, at first, I don't know if it was psychological or what, but I did start to feel better, much better after that, a couple of days after. And I know with the detox, the whole idea is the lymphatic system. So you have thoughts on that?
Have you done any muscle testing on those teeth?
Yes.
Are you?
Well, the day that I must have tested that one, and that's what gave me the decision to go get that one extracted. There was another one that was giving me an issue, but I did brushing with chlorine dioxide. There's in their protocol in that world, there's a protocol where you brush with that in it, and it can help, with any abscess there.
You tested weak on that one, and the other ones, like you've tested really weak?
I've tested weak on another one, and recently it was like zero. It was like neutral. I tested weak on the one that was hurting for days, and it was doing well. And after it hurt again, and that's when I decided to get rid of it. And I'm glad I did, because it was rotten at the top and at the bottom. I wish I didn't have to do that, because I was hoping it would grow back on its own. But it had so much damage from the dental work, from that hole that was created, the cavity, and the way it broke. It was just not salvageable.
I had the 5 fillings I have were all done in grade school. And I never got anything else after that. But anyway, about detoxing heavy metals, I don't worry about these things. Ed, fasting gets rid of all heavy metals.
But if you have amalgams, you want to remove
Specifically
them, right?
dry fast. Yeah, that's what we've talked about. That would be a priority to get them removed. But
And then,
Yes.
if you're not living a fasting lifestyle and you got amalgams, you got no chance. If you're living a fasting lifestyle, at least your body's going to get rid of whatever's taken in continuously. You need that fasting lifestyle to continuously allow the body to purge. If you're always eating 7 days a week, your body has no time to purge. I don't care what you're eating, what you're doing, this and that. Gans water. There was a guy who posted his results on removing heavy metals from the body just drinking Gans waters. He showed the before and after lab test.
Nice.
So, there's so many things, so many tools we have. It's like, where do you want to put your focus on?
yeah, I think the reason it was very expensive in Mexico is probably, well, maybe it's a very fancy place.
There's a cheaper place.
You don't have to go to a fancy place, right?
Oh.
As long as the doctor is good. And another thing is,
Well, of course, yeah.
the other thing is that you don't need root canals. If they tell you root canals, say no. So
Absolutely.
Well, they wanted to rework the root canals, which I thought was like, how, or like at first I would want to find out what material they plan to put in there, or like what did they exactly want to do. And the price they quoted me,
any now?
that was like half price from the American.
Do you have any root canals now?
Yes. Well, from that had been done like 10 years ago or before.
Okay.
How many?
Well, probably at least 3.
Mm-hmm.
Because I gotta check if that was the tooth that got taken out. I believe that would had one also.
Okay. Well, yeah, the teeth is very important because all the meridians are connected to teeth, and they go throughout the whole
Yes.
We've had situations where I've read people, they were sick in bed for years, they get a tooth pulled out, everything goes away. That's happened.
Yeah.
So
I removed my root canal maybe 3 years ago. And I feel much better in the area. I don't have a tooth anymore.
Yeah, I would test the teeth if they're root canals. I wouldn't pull teeth unless I tested weak consistently on them. I would try and save the tooth as much as I possibly can. That's my point of view.
Absolutely. I agree. That's what I did. I agree.
So there's cheaper options in Mexico. You have to get around, but we'll talk about it later. Like I said, as far as removing heavy metals, Ed, if you're living a fasting lifestyle, don't even put a thought to it. What we're doing in the program, in this lifestyle, your body's going to remove all that stuff.
I agree.
Heavy metals, these are all levels of obstruction, and the body will purge them through fasting. We've seen it.
One thing I've seen is that even the whole year of 2017, and one thing I've stayed consistent with is, no matter what I've been doing, it's the psyllium activated charcoal and bentonite clay. Mm-hmm. Taking that because I know those can bind, and those are and muscle testing. My body just loves that. It's like sometimes I'll add herbs. I'll add my own herb mixture to it to make it a little more powerful.
Plasma pudding.
But
I use it regularly when I'm eating too. You know,
absolutely,
it's so cheap and cheap insurance.
yes. I'd like to talk about exercise and circulation. Somebody had I saw a note pop up a while ago about being bedridden, and I agree with them absolutely. There's anybody I mean, talking to people who are bedridden or injured, because some people, when I went back to the master class recently, like people have written to me on the side and they told me like I'm bedridden, and I told them I'll help you understand the master fast, but I always direct them back to the page, or to go back and read all the instructions, and I help you figure it out, or just uh, you know, talk to you for 20 minutes on Skype just to get you started, and go back on the page, sign up, become a member, and just read everything and then start asking questions. But there's a way to do this. People who are in a bedridden state, you will need extra help. I mean, with family or friends, somebody to get you the juice to do this, and do what you can to get yourself set up for success. Like
Every single
whether if it's
person.
opening up the bottles, there was a time where also where the bottles, they're really hard to open.
Yeah.
You can buy that extra, go to Amazon, buy that extra arm or that
Yeah.
thing to open it up, that little wrench. I forget what it's called technically, but it's a jar opener or whatever they use. Like they usually sell it for.
Yeah. So
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. It's like, and I still have one here. I don't. Why waste a muscle? Why hurt yourself? Or I have somebody open it, but you might want to open 2 or 3 juice bottles, have them ready, and then
They
and
have
get the whole program ready.
they have these cheap oil filter wrenches at the dollar store. They're with a rubber band. And
Yes,
it's adjustable for any size jar top. $1.50, whatever they sell it for.
great, great. But circulation is definitely an issue. That's why I always make sure to get up those on master fast. On this time when I had trouble the second and third day, I knew that was an issue. So even in bed, there's little things you could do, whether if it's moving your feet, you're pedaling. I have an exercise bike um, that I purchased a used one for. I got it for $100, um, and it's a stationary exercise bike right next to the bed. I could take 2 steps and I'm on it. So the idea is somehow get the body moving. Um,
absolutely.
yeah, this bed is actually inclined. I've got the head. I've got a wedge pillow, so I'm actually on an incline here, maybe of I don't know 20%, maybe 30%, because it's always good for circulation. But even though, as I mentioned before, and even in my first videos, even though the sometimes I get into the injured and I'm down for more time, I always move. I always get up. Um, and at one point during the summer, I started getting much stronger. I also have what's that called, a jumper or a bouncer. Um,
Rebounder.
so it's like a rebounder. Thank you. Or like Gino was telling me one time, he said just on the edge of the bed, you could bounce, sit on the edge of the bed and bounce up and down because the lymphatic system does not have a pump. There are many videos on YouTube, the famous lymphatic massage where you do this and you know you just start tuning to the face, and there's a whole tutorials. I mean, let's go to the experts. Let's learn from each other, or tools from the master class. Whether if you're gonna use some type a stick or massage your kidneys or what have you. But it's absolutely important. That's why when I'm down for a little bit, I'm kind of like bummed out, like, oh boy, I know I have to raise it, but I have to honor the body. To me, the trickiest thing in this condition, what it's been doing is that learning what is too much. I push myself. I know I have to push above, but sometimes I could do exactly the same thing the next day, and then whammo, I get injured, but I can't get swayed. That's when like you can't get mad at yourself, like, oh, I did too much, I hurt myself, I'm down. Um, Recently, when uh, I'd gone to the naturopath uh, a while back, and I went to the visits. I was standing with my arm out, and he was muscle testing and pushing my arm down. And for that visit, for some reason, I stood up for maybe about 45 minutes, but I did sit for 2 minutes in between while he was interrupted. But that was the longest I'd ever stood in since 2010. And I didn't realize like that's why my another friend, Lisa Bills, who's also done the master fast and she's consulted with you, she's really big into yoga, and I totally agree with her. It's like as the body gets stronger, we've got to challenge our muscles in different ways. That's why I like the master fast and going on and off and the fruitarian and challenging the body, love yourself, and then challenge yourself. I mean, on different realms. That's why I go back to mind, body, and spirit. keep bringing these things in. And don't get depressed, because I got pretty injured, like, I mean, pretty down, like in November and October. Like physically, like I got beat to another level, like, boom, it tanked. And then I got bedridden for weeks. That my long hair. Do you guys like my long hair?
Shake it off.
What happened? I shaved it off, but I love long hair. It got matted on this side, and then it was unsalvageable. Had I got it earlier, I had a rubber band on it, but it got matted from the head to like the rubber band. So then after I thought, I haven't had short hair in a while. I thought, you know what? It's a lot easier to keep, and this is the third time since 2010, 2012 that I had. First time since 2012 that I cut my hair because it got matted, and I thought, you know what? I'll do it a fourth time, fifth time. I'll just go bald. I love myself. It's like, and that's where the affirmations come into play. You just start saying, you know what? I'm beautiful. I'm love. I'm this and that, and we brainwash ourselves once again with so much other stuff. Let's nourish ourselves with some good food.
Yeah.
So that was just one little thing that I'd gone through. But exercise definitely is key. Keep yourselves moving in any facet, in any way. There's at one point I did have an acupuncturist coming to the house. You could find people on Craigslist, get creative, put an ad in the paper, ask people, find a massage therapist, or find somebody. There's always, and people, even though they might take a pity on your case. If you don't have money, offer them something, trade them something. You have an old gold watch. Well, there you go. That's 3 sessions right there. For one session, in fact, I gave him an old iPad because he didn't have one. And I remember I thought I could sell this and get like a session or two. And I thought, I just offered it to him, and he was so happy because he didn't have one. He was in, he had an iPhone, but he wasn't into that realm of looking at the news that way. So he was so happy to have this iPad that went online and did things. And barter, make a deal, get to know them, do something for them, offer your services in kind.
So much stuff we can do.
Exactly. So if you have any questions, or anybody else, I'd be happy to answer anything to the.
Somebody, NA, I don't know who that is. There's no video or anything. It's talking about incline bed therapy. I replied, we have a new understanding. Gravity is irrelevant when you understand field strength. When you raise the field strength of the body, gravity is irrelevant. It doesn't seem like you've read or watched any videos in Masterfast of what our new understanding is. Gravity is irrelevant. This is why we have people that are gaining 3/4 of an inch, 1 inch, 1.5 inch of height doing Masterfast lifestyle, because gravity is irrelevant when you raise your field strength. That doesn't happen with any food, any mineral, any vitamin. It happens through raising your field strength. Gravitational magnetic fields of the cells and their structure and everything else in the body repels because it's stronger, and you grow. Because we can call it hydration, we can call this and that, and you don't get hydrated with water, and you're not going to get circulation by inclining your bed. These are all theories and fallacies of modern science, which are studying things in the matter state. They have their purpose. You get in a car accident, you get mashed up, run to emergency. That's your best bet for survival. But for healing, we'll leave it up to our soul. And that's all I can say about that.
Yeah.
Anybody?
Well, I'm on the incline that I'm on is a wedge, like the wedge pillows, and I don't measure the angle, but it's like I'm just comfortable. That's what I do. Even if I prop my feet up and to get circulation, but I'm always moving. It's like right now, had the weather been a little better, because it was overcast and getting cold, I was actually planning to do this interview outside, and I was gonna go on the grass and show you like things that I could do. In this room, I'm not set up the way with this iPad. It's locked into this holder. But on my next update for the Masterfast, I'll do it outside, and I'll give a little more demonstration that, because if you look at me, people who are new to the Masterfast and new to fasting, they'll say this guy's skinny. I mean, one guy made a joke. He said, if you do another 100 days, you're going to evaporate. You saw that? And I laughed first. I thought, where's he coming from? But then I thought, yes. I responded. I said, yes, I will evaporate parasites, toxins, whatever, chemicals, hatred, mind chatter.
Yeah.
It's like, because we get put to another level. Yes, we can't be fear. I mean, right away, because somebody could read that both ways. Yes, you will evaporate. Evaporate what? I mean, but right away, the mind trying anything new. It's like, oh my God, like this is okay. And the worst thing we could do is to go ask a medical doctor. What you got to do is ask yourself. You've got to go deep inside and say, is this for me? Is this something I could do? Do I really want to heal? What do I want? That's what I told somebody on the messenger with the master fast. Like I said, when you're serious about healing, the master fast like is here for you. When you're serious, make a choice. The choice is yours. And I told this somebody before who was bedridden on the master fast in 2017 when they also reached out to me, another person. And I mean, I feel more like I know them because of so-called suffering, like
Mm.
but it's just like anybody like in sort of pain. They could be suffering in different ways, mentally, physically, spiritually. Like they're suffering in so many contexts. But that's why I wear a smile. Sometimes, like even by forming the smile, you just feel better, and then it's contagious. So that's what it's all about. Any more questions?
Less muscles used to smile than to frown, right? A lot less. Back to the bed thing just came to my mind. I only speak about things I've experienced, and I've dwelled into that stuff. But I was actually doing the instead of incline, decline bed with your feet up, and I had my bed a few inches for years, because the whole theory is that if you're not in a perfectly horizontal position, your body doesn't go into the brain doesn't go into the REM, blah blah blah, doesn't get a proper sleep. So raise your feet up a little bit. And I didn't see any difference. But anyway, because now we have a new understanding, we know it's all about field strength.
Yeah.
And sleep is another thing. We don't need sleep, we need rest. And if you meditate, you can get all the rest you need. There's people who meditate, they don't actually sleep. So we're coming with the new understanding more and more and more so. Whether we're doing it or not is irrelevant. Doesn't mean it's not possible.
Or sleep less,
Yeah, well, for sure. Everybody's on them. What do you do with the extra time? Be productive, because you don't sleep as much. You have more energy. You have much more time.
There you go.
In this lifestyle.
Most people would complain that they have no time, right? Well, you have all the time you want when you're fasting.
It's beautiful. All the different programmings that we've been indoctrinated with, and it's just wonderful to see when there's change happening, how much we resist the change. We all do, all of us. I'm no different. We all resist the change because it's something that, my God, is it possible I could be going 20 hours a day, only sleep 4 hours a day? Is this possible? On and on. Wow. Yeah, it's possible.
I hope to reach that someday. I know that I learned about the botanical breathing method through you a couple of years ago, and I need to get back, continue to that, and I do revisit that, but it's a tough cookie to master.
Yeah.
I mean, I've gone to all the videos, I've got a couple books, and I've done some training methods, but as I mentioned in my first video,
it's difficult for all of us. Not only you, but if we want to change, we're going to put the effort in, right? Like you're doing, you're continuously putting the effort in the lifestyle. It's not going to happen.
I've tried little things, and my sleep got better. And it doesn't happen all the time. Like I'll get off of it, but I know that if I can't really go to bed, sometimes I'll just do the botanical reduced breathing, where you breathe always through your nose, and then after the next reduced breath, you try to reduce it like 85% or 80% of the breath. Release, hold, and then slowly breathe in through the diaphragm. That's what you want to do. Breathe in through the diaphragm, and then release. So I need to get on that in a serious manner. I'm doing so much, and sometimes I'm not able to do that. But I just love this journey. Is interesting because I'm getting introduced to. I haven't even talked about sound therapy, and that's a chat for another day, honestly, because I learned about Elaine McCusick's book on sound therapy, tuning forks, and that's really even getting into music or listening more into natural harmonics, the frequencies. Like these things are beautiful, and music have charm to soothe the savage beast, as the phrase goes. It's a beautiful journey. So I'm doing a lot of little therapies, I would say, at the same time. I'm exploring it in the future. I mean, I would love to put together a book, and that's the plan. Is it's just a different journeys that I think the ultimate, like when people are ready to do like a dry fast, like you can't tell somebody off the bat like you should dry fast. You know, sometimes they need to you know, to crawl before they walk and run or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like they're just not ready. That's why, like in the different healing therapies that I've seen or that I've personally done for more than 3 months at a time, where it's been the Gerson therapy, the Elaine Gottschall, the so-called healing leaky gut, um, everything from other Terry Well's protocol and many other ones. I have a list of these things. I've seen people, or I've read reports of people healing. I follow them, and all of these things is because their bodies were ready to just respond. And we got to remember, what does healing mean? It just means that they feel okay. We don't know how they're doing a year later, or you know, they just might feel okay for that point. But
Talk to us.
now that we know what
Yeah.
true healing is, you know, people could say that they have edema or they get inflamed, and they're saying, "Oh, I feel okay," but they're not really well, and we know that.
Yeah. Yeah. You see what's happening after a decade or two living a certain lifestyle. A few years is nothing. But we've seen people, raw fooders, they feel great, fantastic, 5, 10 years, and then they fall off. Why? Because they're not living a fasting lifestyle. They don't have any time for the body to go into the regeneration mode, which is actually truly when you're dry fasting and with a clean GI tract. That's the key. But it's funny to watch people. You know, even people that have gone through master fasting, they're jumping into something else because they just don't have the understanding. They just don't have the experience, and that's okay. It's their journey. You know, I've been at this almost 3 decades, and like I said, just scratch the surface. We know screw all. We know nothing. We absolutely know nothing how the body actually works, because it's all focused in physicality in the matter state. Once we start opening up and start looking at fields more and more and more, we're gonna see magic happen, like I was talking about earlier, like no tomorrow. That's when we're gonna see the magic. Not by focusing in matter. We gotta focus on spirit. We don't have to. It's your choice. But that's when we're gonna see the realm of creation open up to us in its limitless form, because it's limitless of what's possible. There's the grand scheme of things. Like I put a little post today, but I heard Sadhguru make this wonderful statement. You know, people are afraid to jump into the bottomless pit. Why would you be afraid if there's no bottom to hit? You'd be suspended in bliss for eternity. What,
Love it.
he put it beautifully. And where do you do that? You jump within, because it's the bottomless pit. And that made perfect sense. You know, Sadhguru's got so much wisdom.
That's not committing suicide, right?
No. You're gonna have to commit suicide to go with it.
Because you don't know the other side.
But you know, it's like
Going with them. Yeah.
How can you express words in certain states? There's no words in our language to be able to express these things. Like, how do you explain somebody and convey the message of what it felt like doing a 12, 13-day dry fast? Do it, and then you'll understand. I can't convey the message. I'm sorry. You know, how do you feel 108 days? Do 108 days, you'll understand what 108 days feels like. You understand what I'm saying, Ed? Like, before the 108 days, and now look at yourself after you experience 108 days. How could you have told yourself what the 108 days could have felt like? Impossibility until you've done it, right?
And I wasn't ready. I absolutely agree. The first one I did was a 63-day master fast. That same year, at the end, I did a 40-day master fast.
Right.
At the end of the year, in the middle, I happened to do a 40-day watermelon because they were on sale and it just took off. But the next year is when I did early in the year, I did 108 days. I had to be ready for it. And I think some people, it's also a spiritual journey. That's why we got to get these tools. That's why I'm going with affirmations, with loving yourself, because then I know I was sitting in the back of the grass, like looking at the lawn, and I was just feeling like Zen. I was feeling like everything's beautiful. I remember I was crying, and I was looking at the tree and just saying, that thing is beautiful. And then it just made me think of more like connecting inside. It just comes to you. So we've got to be ready on different aspects. prepare ourselves.
Yeah. NA's writing about homeopathy and stuff and different things. Yeah, homeopathy is based on plasmatic fields. That's they're working with energy, and that's what we're doing in MFS. The physicality of the things is not the important thing. That's why we're cooking things to death, as some people put it, because it's irrelevant the physicality of them. We're working with their energies on the plasmatic side of things, and that's why what we're doing is so potent and powerful, because you're working on the energetic level. The physical things, yeah, we're doing it because that's what we have to work with in this field, in this state of, in this realm. It's with the matter, but it's not. Uh, it's not the things that are doing the work. The things that are doing the work are in the higher order of things. When you cook juices, the higher order of the juice is way more powerful. Way more powerful. You check it physically, it's dead, as people say, because the understanding is not there, and that's okay. I've not seen many people who have the understanding of what MFS is, but it's slowly but surely, as people are living it, a few people are gaining the understanding. I'm talking about a handful. It's not going to happen without experiencing it. And as once we get 9 years gone by, we'll see a whole new realm of things that have come out through people living this lifestyle. It's already started. My goodness, in just a few short years, and it's a beautiful thing to watch unfold. But we don't have all the answers, but we know exactly what to do to allow the body to regenerate. That we know. Stop eating. Stop eating. Stop plugging yourself up. It's that simple. It's a self healing system that gets triggered when you stop eating. The challenge is humanity, societies today have plugged themselves up so much. We're so obstructed that to allow those obstructions to come out of the body is a bit challenging. And that's what very, 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 very few understand, how challenging it is to get rid of these obstructions at all levels, physical, mental, and emotional, especially. The physical part is the easy. It's the mental and emotional that's the real challenge for all of us.
They're all connected, you know.
They're all connected. You can't separate them in this realm. Once we leave, we separate the physicality, but in this realm, we can't separate them. We have to work with all of them. And that's why I find it's so powerful for most people to work through the physicality to access the mental and the emotional bodies. And that's what we're doing with MFS. We're working with the physicality of things. We're touching and feeling the juice and the herbs.
And you're releasing physical stuff.
Yeah, and we're releasing physical, mental, and emotional at the same time. But we're working with the fields of them. Even though we're not seeing them, we're seeing the outcome of what's happening. And that's why we see such magic unfold when people live this lifestyle, because we're working at the level of the fields, not the level of the physical, even though we're doing the physical things. So yeah, the understanding will come more and more.
That's why,
I've just scratched the surface myself of this understanding, and look what we've been able to do, guiding people with that scratching of the surface is just awesome.
That's why fasting is in every religion and every spiritual program.
They all,
it does eventually connect us to God, really.
Almost all the spiritual gurus of the past and present talk about stop eating. All of them. Why? Why?
Yeah.
You know, you got to ask yourself. Yeah. It's nothing new that we've come up with.
As you clean your body, you're cleaning your thoughts, you're strengthening your connection to God. You start feeling for other people. You know, it's an experience.
Connect to source.
I mean, the grape juice. I mean, this so-called grape pasteurized cooked juice. It's an incredible cleanser. I mean, along with the whole protocol, because this sounds gross and disgusting, but doing the enemas now or going to the bathroom, it smells like an absolute sewer. I didn't smell this doing fruit for 12 days. Before 2016, I think I was a fruitarian for 10 months, just 100% fruit. But you don't get this. I only get this level of cleansing that your nose will tell you, like, oh my God, it's like when you're walking down a third world country and you smell a sewer without wanting to. Yeah. And then I'm thinking, but I smile because I thought, you know what? The walls, they're just getting cleaned all the year, like the mucus, the scum. And even though this is my 5th one, and I think, oh, I'm pretty clean. But of course I did other foods, but it's like, but still, I think I'm kind of clean, and I've been doing lots of herbs. I've been doing high on the herbs, especially at the end of the last year before the master fast. My body wanted everything, and so I know it's doing a really good job. Even like this morning when I did the enema, it was like disgusting, but at the same time you smile and say, okay, better out than in. Let's clean this. Let's clean this out.
Yeah, I'm glad a few people that understand the power of the herbs. They just it's just like at a whole different level. It's just you're not going to come to the understanding until you've experienced it. Um, it's just awesome. Eating fruit, eating and healing do not belong in the same sentence. I think some of us are starting to understand what that means. You're only going to be able to cleanse up to the level of obstruction of the food you're eating. So if you're eating a sad diet, you're going to plug yourself up pretty good. And then if you're going to a vegan diet, a vegetarian diet, you're going to plug yourself up less. And then if you go into raw vegan, you're going to plug yourself up less. And if you go into fruitarianism, you're going to plug yourself up the least of eating physical foods. But you're only going to get to clean up to the level of obstruction of those foods, of the fruit.
Solid foods, yeah. And then the juice is even lighter.
So that's the where I haven't seen anybody understand D equals P take away O. I just haven't seen it in all the years I've been involved in this so-called alternative fasting lifestyle. So it's nothing. It's a revelation from within, but the information's always been there. It's always there. It's built within us, and it's in the animal kingdom. They get sick, they stop eating, and they get injured, they stop eating until they heal or they die. It's the beauty and the cruelty of nature for the strong to continue to survive. That's the way it works. But humans were supposed to be more intelligent, so we can also help the weak overcome miraculous things and become strong. I don't care how long somebody's been in bed. Yeah. It's irrelevant. Do you want to heal? Will you do whatever it takes, no matter what, no matter how long it takes? If you answer yes, wholeheartedly through your heart, through your spirit and soul, and you do, you'll be out of bed. Like Ed has been able to do. He's not 100%, but he's come leaps and bounds through when he started. And it's only going to improve and improve and improve as you continue it. It's just
and the healing, my healing continues. I've seen myself still recovering quicker on certain injuries, like the different levels of things getting hurt. Sometimes like I don't realize like what hurt, because it's like if you cut your finger and then like it hurts for a couple of days because it's there. It's like that thorn in the paw, and after when you walk on it, it hurts, and then after a while when you clean it up, it goes away. You kind of forget like what finger had the injury, because you kind of look, it heals so well. So when these little injuries start going away, I made a list. One day I'll share it. I made this list. I mentioned it in the first video. I found an outline of a body and I put arrows to it, like with the alphabet. It went beyond the alphabet, beyond 26, 27. I went to an alphabet and a half. So many things were hurting me. The eyes, the cheeks. Once again, I couldn't chew food from that day, February, all the way before doing fruit, right before like doing the master fast, and then it got way better. And it still hurt for a while, but I had to put food in the blender. People don't realize that I had to put vegetables at the same time when I was doing way back then. I was doing wild caught salmon. We had to still blend it and prepare them in these jars. Actually, these are the jars we use. I have a whole bunch of these left over. These are jam jars that somebody donated these. And so somebody gave us like over the course of time, they gave us over like 30 or 40. So I would use like 5 or 6 at a time and prepare food. I had helpers. I had my sister. I had family, and it's like, and I've come a long way. I mean, people, they still see me laying down and they say, "Hey, you're still hurt," but they don't know where I've gone. They don't know how much I could still do. I could stand up. I could do this. I'm writing. And it's only going to get better. And I've got to listen to myself on this little roller coaster. And I have to realize that it's actually not a roller coaster. It's just now. Now is all there is. And the past is a good learning tool for me not to step back into something that's going to hurt myself.
Yeah. I would like to ask you, what's your lifestyle plan after this master fast?
To rule the world. Well, I'm leaving it open in a way. What I wanted to do beforehand, which I mean, I like to write poetry, and I am a writer. And I learned to write even when I went to graduate school in New York. I went to the New School. I did get the degree. That's when this condition first happened. At the end of 2010 April, I came back to Los Angeles on crutches, literally on crutches. I went from being in a boot, that injury, to crutches, to walker, to wheelchair, like in a matter of like weeks. It was pretty sad. So at the time, right now it's open to me whether if I go back to earn perhaps look into a PhD program that for literature, something fun. To me, it's like I want to do a job that's fun. In the past, what I wanted to do, I wanted to teach English literature at a community college. I wanted to, and they only teach a few hours. It depends how many classes, just enough to survive. And to me, that is fun. Even if, like I said, even if I do pursue academia, um, it's like it's something that I think about, but I don't worry about. I don't need that. The most learning I've done is whether if it's on learning the masterclass side or on my own. You really learn things on your own. When I went to grad school, even when I went to UCLA and I got my English degree, I went back at the age 35 years old and I got my English degree because I went a period of 7 years where I was married before I got divorced. Life happens. You get thrown in the mud. Or I threw myself in the mud, and then you got to pick yourself up. What I thought was going to be a 2-year absence of school became 7. But I made a choice that I wanted to educate myself in English because it was a weakness of mine. I was very strong in mathematics. I tutored even up to calculus. I had people coming over years ago tutoring them here, but I wanted to explore something fun. So I have a lot of ideas, and I'm just going to leave it open to the universe. It will definitely involve writing, definitely writing for children, and just I know I don't want to work in a cubicle. I've done that before. Even in the cubicle, when I worked in there before, I was always standing up. I mean, I've always been. You hear me talking. I've always been moving. I'm active, and like I want to be a service to people. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever be a practitioner, but I'll help people in some realm, whether it's for writing a book or giving people tips. Um, I mean, I just I've always wanted to help people.
You habla español. You're fluent in Spanish, right?
Claro que sí. Claro que sí.
Writing
I'm
too?
fluent. I need to get biliterate. I am bilingual, but I need to learn how to really write. And I've done a little bit of Spanish translation. It's just that since it wasn't my mother tongue, technically is English, and learning Spanish and from my parents, but it's like it's totally there. A lot of my poems are actually bilingual, which is a nice combination. So yeah.
Awesome.
And are you thinking to live, like, are you thinking to go for eating 6-7 days a week, or how are you seeing yourself?
Well, right now for the short term, I'm gonna do not for the short term. For now, what I'm doing is like I said, right now I'm planning the 40 days, and then if I extend that, fine. But my goal is just 40 days, or that's the idea, and then to go immediately on fruit. Like also in California, like I know there's a fruit season coming, like before summer, so I want to enjoy those fruits, and I want to see where it goes from there. I know that like right now, I can't say I don't plan to eat meat. I know that I didn't eat meat last year. I had fish, but not any other. I don't have a desire for those. Um, if I did try them, it's anything on protocols. But I mean, as far as the way to eat, I do want to explore something that I've seen your post and even the foods. I love the picture of your foods, Rano. Amazing. The salads. I've even taken screenshots of those and saved them. I think I might try something like that in the future. Whether if I do like the masterclass 4 days, I will do a hybrid of some sort. Absolutely, it's a lifestyle. Like I said, even 2017, where I didn't do a long masterclass, it was always there. Whether if it was a 10-day, I did one early December. I did a 3-day, like sometime in November when I felt um, a kidney stone. It's always going to be there to pull myself out of something.
Yeah. It's all coming together at one day at a time. Ranjit, you don't have nothing to say?
Oh, I've got lots to say. I'm I'm just so grateful for you, Ed, for sharing with all of us. And I had some pointers that came through while you were talking, and that the person that was writing about the bed and everything. And I know
Yeah.
we already do this, and you're probably already doing this, Ed, is that the imagination, you tap into the imagination to move your body, which is what I've done, which is really cool. And also the breath, you know, we're talking about the slow breath. I'll throw this out there for everybody, is that I also think we do breathe through our skin, our biggest organ, our skin. So I understand why that kind of come to me through a 3-hour walk that I do when I'm in my meditative states. So that you don't actually need that big chunk breaths like Wim Hof does, you know, which is great for if you're in the cold. So that works. And what else was I going to say? Not too much. Is the only thing I was thinking is that when you did your MFS, Ed, and most people have done the long ones, and Gino alluded to this, is when you're when you're resting, right? And I think that resting is when you fall into those meditative states, and you go into the other dimension. Because even though I'm feasting at the moment, I'm still finding my sleep is not like how it used to be. You know what I mean? It's sort of around about 5 hours sleep a night while I'm feasting. Previously, when I fell into those long meditative states, it was around 3 hours or maybe 4 hours, and the energy is so high that it's incredible. There's something that happens when you fasted and you're rested in the meditative states. There's so many downloads and things that come through that that's when you realize you don't need food, you don't need any of that stuff, and the healing. So it's incredible. And one thing that happened to me, Gino, this week was that it's funny when you're talking about opening up the bottles. So I was opening up my grape juice bottle and it was super glued on, and nobody could open it up. And I thought, no, bugger this. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use the force, the energy to come through. And I did, and I opened it. And the only thing is I didn't actually hurt myself. But I didn't realise I hurt myself, because what I did is that I threw the pain into the other dimension, like how you do when you want to eat food. You've got those cravings, you throw it. I threw it, and my whole wrist swelled up. And my family actually forced me to go see the doctor. And I didn't want to go. But they forced me, and I went, and they did the whole ultrasound thing, and they said, how come you're moving your hand? And all this. And I said to my mum, I said, you watch this, because I've got this big lump there, and it's already reduced. I said, you watch this, Mum. I said, I'm going to fast my way through, because they said to me, they're going to have to cut it off, the lump or the cyst there. And I said, you watch. So in one day, my arm just swelled way back down. The lump has gone half the way the size. And I said, you give me, I reckon probably less than 2 weeks, I'm going to get rid of that cyst if I fast.
Massage it with the burnt stick, put a clay and charcoal pack on it.
That's all I got to say. Because, you know,
Awesome.
there's nothing in this that I know of.
Now? Is it painful?
Nah, moving it. I can't believe it. Like how fast it happens when you fast yourself and you step into the realm, right? You've got to tap into that, you know, the soul and the realm. You've got to do that. That's what you've got to do. You've got to do that. And then you just say, hey, I surrender. So you do the surrender, and as I fix it. And and it just, it's there. The whole source, you know, the source and the tapping in. But you only get to understand that, like what you say, Gino, and even Ed has alluded to it, is when you're doing it, like when you're actually fasting and you've done the fast, you have that understanding, and the downloads come. It doesn't matter how much someone tells you. You've got to experience. That's why with the dry fasting, when you're talking about teeth, I never experienced a teeth situation until after my first 3-day dry fast, because I've got amalgam fillings and all that. And the soul said to me, don't worry about it. I went, okay, I'm not going to worry about it. And my mouth was just amazing. Like I had a little bit of receding gums, but the blood was just pumping through, and it just felt great after that 3-day fast, a dry fast. And I'm thinking, I mean, I didn't understand what was going on. You
You
know,
don't
I
need
don't
to.
know.
You don't need
You
to.
don't need to know. You just throw yourself in the surrender to the soul, and then off you go. And then you go, well, this feels good. So, you know, go with the feelings because it feels good. And, you know, and yeah, your whole body fixes itself up. Like I know, Ed, oh man, you know, I see you completely whole and healed, and you're just blossoming so beautifully, and you're
Thank
a
you. Blessings to
yeah.
all. Really.
Yeah, it's a done deal. Just we're in a slow motion in the matter state. It takes what it takes. No big deal. It's all wonderful. But I shared about my mother on Wednesday a little bit. We kind of hit a little bit of a breakthrough, I think, in this past year and a half. This is somebody that will not change their diet.
Easily. Not easily.
Just no, will not change the diet.
She eats less meat now, right?
Yeah. But you know, I've been working with herbs with her. That's all I can do. GANS materials and colonics. She's been doing colonics. So I give her the herbs, the tea and the herbs twice a day, and we're doing colonics for once a week. And that's all I can work with her. And to say it's been a challenge for a year and a half is an understatement if you understand what I went through. But anyway, it's 6 months now. She's been seizure free. That's the longest since I got her off the psychiatric drugs, which started the seizures and it's anxiety and panic attacks and sleepless nights, week after week after week, getting her off that stuff. So it's 6 months is the longest she's been seizure free. But in the last 2 weeks, some interesting things happened. I made a baseball cap. I call it the plasma cap, plasma helmet. I made a short video showing it's nothing fancy. And I put magnets, 4 magnets, and the 5th one on the top. And these are donut magnets with GANS materials inside the donut, dried GANS materials. I dried the GANS materials. And I just taped them on that cap, and I asked her to wear it 1 or 2 hours a day. And because there's a doctor called Dr. Philpott, magnetic therapy, who has been doing much research on magnets, and a friend of mine who introduced me to him many years ago, he was mentioning, yeah, he was using it for depression and so on and so forth as well. So we just took it to the next level, I guess you can say, and use the proper magnets, donut magnets, which represent the way plasma flows much, much better. And we've upped the scale to include GANS materials, which are in a high field strength. And so when you put it on the head, you don't wear these anything to do with plasma all day long. You only do them for 1 or 2 hours a day, because what you're doing is the GANS materials, the plasma, is always seeking balance. So you're retraining the body to remember how to do that. That's all it's doing. It's not the GANS materials doing the work. It's your own GANS materials doing the work, your body, your soul. So, been doing that. And, we've had in the last couple of weeks, she come into states of laughing and being happy. And I'm going, is this my mother? Is something, I couldn't understand what was going on. But anyway, Thursday we did a colonic, Rana did a colonic. She had such a massive release that never happened before. And she had an emotional release.
Crying. Yeah.
Wow.
And
Then
she was
started
in pain with cramps, but she had a huge, massive release. Anyway, in the last few days, she's been eating more than usual. The caregiver is noticing it. And today, also she woke up and you can see her face is glowing, which I haven't seen in a long time. And her sister came over and she says, my goodness, what happened? I haven't seen her like this in a long time. And I go, it's a process. And I can't explain it to you because you need to go through the experiences. That's all I said. And I think we've broken through, and I hope it continues, because
Okay.
it's been a real challenge, but um, it, you know, even when people lose hope and this and that, and there's nothing you can do, there's always something you can do. You always got to support people's wishes, and it's their journey. You can't force things upon people, right? So the universe put forth this to me to gain a new understanding, as to wean somebody firsthand off of the most powerful psychiatric drugs. It's not fun. You need to know what you're doing, and it's seizures and all that, and all the other stuff I had to experience. So it's just the universe put it forth to give me a new understanding of how to help people in those situations. And just like every single other person that's going through MFS and sharing their information, this is what it's all about. It's all about us sharing with each other so we all can gain
Understand each other.
and understand what's going on. And as we fast, the understanding gets revealed. Not before. As we fast, is the understandings of everybody's experiences will come to the surface through you, and the answers will come to you. They've always been in plain sight, but it comes through through the experiencing. That's the way I see it. So as things progress with people, you start seeing what's going on. We don't have to understand the intricacies of exactly who, what, where, when, why, how. It's all irrelevant. It's not going to help us in any way, shape, or form. But we're so indoctrinated to want to know this. But even going in, for example, going into blood work and the blood pressures and this and that and analysis, and they haven't got a clue what they mean. We don't have a clue. If somebody's telling you they're experts in whatever, sure, okay. Not from my understanding. When you work with higher order, it's an autopilot, and creation allows you to access that perfection blueprint autopilot when you stop eating, and especially when you do it for long periods of time and clear up that GI tract. And that's the magic that starts to unfold without understanding the who, what, where, when, whys, and hows. And it's just beautiful. Surrender, soul, trust, have the faith. Just use the roadmap and follow it with all the parts of the protocol. Every single part is there for a reason. And if you believe you understand more than somebody who's gone 3 decades, then that's wonderful. But I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen anybody that has come forth with the understanding. I see people starting to gain the understanding, but you will start to gain more of the understanding as the years go by, living the lifestyle. That's what I've seen in the last 3.5 years. I thought 108 days people would have the understanding. No, it didn't happen. So it's okay, because we're all here to learn, and I have absolutely no answers for anybody, because all the answers lie within, and that's the journey for each and every one of us to allow it to unfold and gain the insight and wisdom through that infinite knowledge of one creation that we all have access to. So Ed, yeah, you're doing amazing, man. Brother. It's I remember talking to you from the start and all the challenges you had, and to see you work slowly working away around all those little challenges. It's awesome to for you to be a part and share this journey and give everybody that wisdom that you've gained. It's priceless. No amount of money can can ever do anything for the wisdom that is being shared.
It is like they say, like peeling the layers of an onion. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it. It's like an ant crawling up the Empire State Building. It's like, but I don't care. But the main thing is I believe and I feel, and the body's telling me that I'm going forward. And I've also had to come to the realization that living in the now, that's like the teachings of Eckhart Tolle and other luminaries, the power of now, whatever. But it's just to accept the now and to do as much as you can now. Yes, I hope for more, but I'm joyful and I'm happy now. It is an incredible journey, and um, I'm happy to share it and to continue to share. You know, of course, I wanna walk, run, and cartwheel, but I can't let that be a limiting belief and just be bitter that, oh, how come he's running and I'm not skipping, and how come he's cartwheeling and I can't. You know, I gotta say, you know, I'm here now, and I'm grateful that in my past I've actually done a lot. I've traveled. I've got to go to school. I never had money because I was always buying something or helping family or doing something. But I lived, and I am living. That's the thing. It's like, is to live to the fullest, and I think that's what makes me joyful now. That if I get really sad or something happens, and it's okay to cry. I've cried and I've prayed. I let it feel it. Now I'm letting the feelings come in. Let the heart and love myself, and then whether if you tap and you do these other releasing points, you let them flow, and it's all a learning.
Brother, close your eyes. You can run as fast as you want.
Yep.
It's an illusion. Which realm is more real? You know?
Sounds like the Matrix.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's, you know, so um, you know, continue on the path, and allow it to unfold. It's we've seen so much magic happen and continue to see the magic unfold with people choosing this type of lifestyle. Um, I've not seen in all these years in this field. I've not seen it happen at the levels that we're witnessing, and it's just an honor and a blessing to be part of it. So we continue to do it. You know, I've devoted and committed my time to supporting the MFS page as best I could, and that's what we continue to do as long as I'm around. You know, until we come to the time where um, we will be able to plasmatically correct everything. We'll continue to do this. There will be a time that that'll happen. It's just gonna have to happen. There's just that's the direction we're moving. You know, we've started with it, and it's going that direction. Like I've shared the story of my friend Giovanni in Italy. This guy's got to watch the video of his presentation. How he allowed his uh, daughter from a comatose on her deathbed, broken up body, brain much like it was put in a blender. You can see the X-rays before and after. To completely rebuilding her brain, she's up, back talking again, remembers everything. The only challenge is left now is her to walk properly again, and it's getting better every day. And you know, this is a couple of years process he's been working. No diet, just working with GANS materials. Completely allowed her body to rebuild itself from a comatose death situation. You know, hip was completely severed, fracture. You can't even tell where the fracture was. And there was no operation done on the hip because she was in palliative care. They gave up on her because she was such in a broken up state. But everything's possible when you gain the understanding. The GANS materials, the people that say they don't work, they don't understand what GANS materials are, and they just are not ready to allow the process to take place through the soul because they work through the soul. They don't work in physicality. And if you're determined to continue using the GANS materials, you will see the magic unfold with them. Like I had the breakthrough with my mother in these last couple of weeks. I've been using all different types of GANS materials, but it just came to me, I need to make this helmet. And I started seeing uh, big changes through using that helmet just for the last couple of weeks. So, you know, We work with fields. That's what I keep saying. We focus on the fields and the material things. We're here in matter state. Let's enjoy them. Let's enjoy them. But let's limit the uses of, eating the material foods and so on. So let's limit them. But when we do, let's enjoy them fully. Let's enjoy them fully. Doesn't matter we fall off or whatever. Don't curse yourself. It's part of the journey, part of the experience for you to understand and learn.
Everything we go through is for a reason.
Oh yeah, I've been through big challenges
Everything-
this past year and a half. So
There's a lesson for you to learn.
we continue on the path. What else are we gonna do? Go back to eating? Yeah, you could go back to eating 7 days a week. Nobody's stopping you. God bless you. I know where it's gonna go because I've been through it so many times. Not fun eating 7 days a week. Not for me. But it's awesome. So if there's anything else you want to share, we can call it close. We've already gone by 2 hours, man. Time just flies by.
Hey,
I'm
Gina,
done. Thank you so much.
thank
So
you,
go ahead.
Ed. Yeah, Gina, I just want to share my shingles story quickly if it helps somebody. Because I had shingles that come up on my bottom for nearly 5 years. Even when I did the 21-day water fast, it still came up. Not as bad. It was just wasn't as itchy or anything like that. So when I did starting from the hybrid, it never came up. When I did my 1 month hybrid before I did the 108 days, and it never came up because it normally comes up around my monthlies, and because the monthlies have shrunk as well.
Every month?
Yeah, nearly every month.
Wow.
Sometimes it might be 2 months or maybe lucky 3 months, but usually every month it come up.
Okay.
And before, like in 2017, when it came up, it was sore, itchy, was awful. So then the 108 days never came up at all. And while I'm in my feasting stage, it still hasn't come up at all. And I know when I do the 180 days, which is already done, it's going to be gone forever. So that's shingle. That's the shingles. And they're trying here in Australia, probably. Yeah, virus. So where'd it go? And I reckon it has a lot to do with the when you do those weekly dry fasts and daily, monthly dry fast. And I'm still keeping my dry fasting schedule. That's one thing I will not. It's a non-negotiable thing. I'll never give up. Is those dry fasting schedules to the minimum. I will never give it up. Never give it up.
You'll always continue.
Yeah. The high's too good.
Yeah.
Too good.
The CO2 GANs, it's very effective on all viruses.
You know what I did put on it when I did used to get it was the turpentine. I actually put
That's amazing.
yeah, helped heaps actually.
Yeah.
For external. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the oils, the turpentines, and all that externally. Internally, I'm really worried about oils internally. Will you benefit from some of them? These powerful herbal extracts, yes, but I'd rather use them externally. Rub them on the spine. Spine's connected to the whole body and the physicality. You can do that. You can use them externally anywhere in the body. If you're going to use them internally, Ed was doing it really wisely, is using drops. Because when you're on a fast, these oils, we got to remember they're obstructive in nature. So if we're using the drops, we're taking in their energies, but we're limiting the physicality of them because they are obstructive, even though they're powerful on the spiritual side of things. They still have to deal with the physical of it. So that's why I'm not a big fan of oils internally myself. But externally, yeah, we can use oils externally.
Just one word on oils, if I may.
Yeah.
While I was experimenting with them, I also at the same time I tried to get the purest form, wildcraft or organic if I could find it or whatever. But I tried the castor oil, of course turpentine, oregano oil, peppermint. I'm trying to see this bag up here. My body only a few times wanted castor oil for some reason in drops. We're talking drops. I think I only took it maybe 3 times, like maybe like a total of 5 drops, like, and then my body really says no to that one. Turpentine is just a few drops is okay now and then. Oregano oil, peppermint every once in a blue moon, neem oil, organic neem oil. It's only been like twice and my body said yes for like I think 1 or 2 drops. So it's interesting that and and just to see how you react, because a lot of protocols you got to be careful. People do like start with teaspoons or tablespoons or say like, oh, it's not that bad, and then they run into trouble.
Yeah, like more is better. When you're fasting, you know, we've got it down to, you know, using the herbal tinctures, because they work very, very easily with the physical body, very easily. They don't leave any obstructions whatsoever. They're actually helping remove the blockages and of obstructions. So that's why we're using spirit, and they're very powerful. So, you know, you've done it using them and
Wisely.
wisely, and that's the way you do things when you're doing these. Like we've asked people if they wanted to experiment with turpentine a while ago, a couple of years ago. You know, some people have results, some people have no results, and some people say they had negative results. Very, very few. But what's a negative result? You're not going to be able to come to an understanding with a few months or even a few years of testing of these things. Um, Everything really to come to a proper understanding, you need decades. You need decades. Like of the lifestyle, you need decades to see the outcome. Like I've been living decades of doing various things, and fasting's always been there. Fasting's always been my savior. Without fasting, I wouldn't be here anymore. I can assure you, I wouldn't be here. Fasting is what saved my life, and that's the whole focus, the lifestyle around the fasting. Fasting is the lifestyle. MFS made it simple to live a fasting lifestyle for anybody, and that's the difference. So our minds want to always look for adding this, that, and the other thing, but in actuality, that's the monkey mind playing. In actuality, um, everything that we have in MFS is pretty complete. It's pretty complete to work and allow the physicality to drain itself. The understanding that's not there is how much time does the body need? As much time as the body needs. That's the answer. And that's the trouble people have. They want instant gratification in this instant gratification society, which there's no such thing. In stimulations, they may seem to give you instant gratifications, but these are not the solutions. If people go back to eating flesh, they feel better. What does that mean? Oh, they've solved all the problems. Yeah, okay, sure. Come talk to me in 5-10 years. You know, I've seen this over and over and over again in these 3 decades, and it's all fly by night stuff. And we're going to see more people being sick through not only the pharmaceuticals, but through all these people doing these high fat diets and these high protein diets. We've already started seeing so many being damaged by these things that have been doing it for several years. Their GI tracts are completely plugged up and it doesn't work. Kidneys are burnt out. And these are done through these diets that people are saying they're claiming they're healing. It's nothing to do with healing. These are stimulants, strong stimulants. And that's my opinion and my understanding through my experiences. So I may be all wrong, but we've seen that MFS, people doing MFS show us that results speak loudly. And we've just begun. So let's bring it to a close. We thank you so much, Ed, for taking your time out to inspire us all. And,
Thank you all. Thank you for love, prayers, and just support.
you know,
Thank you, Gino. Thank you, Rana.
we're not perfect. We all make mistakes, and we're doing the best we can with the information available to us. And it's awesome that you've opened up and allowed yourself to continue on this journey and take you to where you want to go. because that's the only place you will go, wherever you want to go. And the progress is happening. There's no time but the now. So let's work with that, and we'll see you on the page. Thank you, everyone, and let's keep that plasma love always flowing.
Thank you.
And awesome. Ciao, ciao.
Love you all. Thank you.